Hi, everybody. My name is Danielle, and I am the founder of Teaching Well and the Teaching Well framework and coaching program. And I'm so excited to be able to present to you some of the really incredibly powerful work that we're doing at Teaching Well and how that work and that framework can help to fully support your teachers using mindfulness as one of our tools, but also supporting the entire school system. So that's really where we're headed with the Teaching Well coaching framework and program. So before I get into all of that that I'm going to be talking about today, I'd like to just kind of tell you who I am. So my name is Danielle Nuhfer. I am the founder of Teaching Well and the Teaching Well coaching framework. And I was a 20-year veteran high school teacher. I also am now a coach. So I do coach teachers. I call myself a teacher wellness coach, a school wellness coach, but I'm also an instructional coach. So I specialize in positive psychology, mindfulness, and social emotional learning. And I brought all of those things together to help people with their instructional capacity and also wellness. So all of those worlds are kind of colliding and at I think the perfect time. Unfortunately, the way that the school systems are, there's a lot of challenges, as you all know. But I think the skill set that I'm bringing to Teaching Well and what I've created is definitely needed at this moment. So I hope you will follow along with me as I go through this process and giving you some information. I went through 2 bouts of burnout in my early years of teaching and basically found mindfulness. I ended up finding a lot of techniques that worked outside the classroom, but then when I integrated it into my teaching, my whole entire world changed. And with that, I wrote the book called The Path of the Mindful Teacher, where I spell out not necessarily how to teach this stuff to kids, but how to embody mindfulness practices in our school classrooms and in our school days, so that mindfulness isn't just something that you do quietly before, after school, although that's all great, but also mindfulness is a practice that you can bring to your classroom. And that's what that book is about. And that's what I based the framework on. So I always like to start off with giving us a couple of moments to just check in. So what I'd like to offer you right now is just to wherever you're at, however you're listening to this, of course, unless you're driving, I'd like to offer you a couple moments to just arrive here at this space. And whatever you're doing at this moment, I'd just like to invite you to be aware of how you're feeling and what it feels like to just sit here in this moment when there's probably a million other things that you could be doing. And just bring some awareness to that feeling of go, 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 go. And now I'm asking you to just stop. What does that feel like? And as we're sitting here, just kind of checking in, first checking in with your breathing, and then checking in with your body sensations. And finally checking in with those thoughts. I'd like you to think about something that is less than ideal at school, or with a relationship with a teacher, or a relationship with a student, or how things are going. So just bring some attention to something that is a challenge right now. Doesn't need to be the most challenging thing, but something that is challenging you. Just what does that feel like in your body? What does that look like if you imagine it? And now I'd like to invite you to imagine what you want it to look like by the end of the school year. So we have a couple months left of this school year. What could this look like if things turned around, if they changed, if they went better than before? What could that look like by the end of the school year? And I want you to really dream here. I want you to visualize where you started and where you want to end up by the end of the school year. It doesn't need to be, everything needs to be perfect, but what could you aim for? And what I would like you to do, and if you had your eyes closed, I'd like you to open your eyes. I'd like you to write down on a piece of paper or a Post-it, I love Post-its, somewhere, or type it in your phone, what you just thought about and where you want to get to by the end of the school year. And we'll come back to that at the end. So this is part of that teaching well framework that I want to introduce you to. So just put that to the side, and I'm going to go over the major features of the program. All right, so the idea is, here's the problem, and we all know this. When I first got started with teaching well, I was really overly focused, not overly focused, but very laser focused on teacher wellness, and really bringing to light and a voice to how we needed to center teacher wellness, mindfulness as a way to incorporate wellness into the everyday school system, encourage self-care. That whole package really was important to the mission of teaching well. And what I found is that everybody knows that. Like, teachers now can say that, they know that. There might be a little guilt, but they know that that's important. However, what I'm seeing is that we need a different type of language and a different type of support for teachers. So yes, it's great. We need to bring mindfulness to our teaching practices and find time for self-care and build habits of well-being, but we also need some more support because our students' needs have changed drastically over the last 5 years. School leaders are now finding it very challenging to meet both teacher and student needs collectively. And the result is a deteriorating school culture and climate that leaves everyone feeling some kind of negativity. No one's needs are fully being met because we had, we were jolted into the pandemic, and then we were jolted out of it, and things changed, and there wasn't time to heal. There wasn't time to recalibrate. And now we're moving ahead, and people are feeling like, but what about what just happened when we're moving ahead? And it's just causing a rapidly declining and deteriorating school culture and climate for a lot of schools in a lot of different ways. So that is where I'm seeing teacher self-care needs to be centered and prioritized. But it needs to also be about the systems that are in the school district, the systems that are there to support teachers, the systems that are there to support students, and how that all works together to create something that is actually well for everybody involved. So the idea is that our teachers are stressed, and we want to move them from stressed to secure, because when that happens, student outcomes improve. But you can't just do that from classroom to classroom. Sure, you can give support to teachers individually. Sure, teachers can go and get that support that they need. But what I'm proposing is that there is a collective shift in the school culture and climate, and the Teaching Well framework and the coaching program is something that can aid in that language and in that being prioritized, not just teacher by teacher. So what we do, we partner with schools to find creative ways to prioritize well-being and create a culture of compassion to both increase student learning and teacher retention. We work with schools who want to find solutions beyond that once and done wellness professional development and move to a more integrated, holistic model that addresses the current needs of the staff and students while working within the constraints of the school system. So I want to highlight the word creative, and I want to highlight the word constraints, because I know that that's two things that are really true for most schools. But I think that we need to really allow ourselves to take the time to reconsider some of the things that we're doing and ways that we're doing them. And the Teaching Well framework and coaching program provides that framework where that dreaming, that wonder, that creativity, we take time for that. And then we figure out what can work and what can't. And maybe we spend some real time communicating our needs and our desires and where we're at that we didn't take before. So again, I'll just show it in another type of slide. When students' outcomes improve because teacher well-being inside and outside of the classroom was prioritized. So that's the point. We all can win when we prioritize a positive culture and climate. So how do we do this? Like I said, we infuse creative ways to have these opportunities for wellness be present in the current school system. And we do this with the Teaching Well coaching program and framework. We offer creative professional development opportunities to teachers while also working very closely with school leaders to find ways to integrate opportunities for wellness into the school culture. See, what happened when I first started doing this work is that I would do this work with teachers in isolation. And what I found was that a lot of the times I was hearing all of the other things that teachers needed support with, and it wasn't necessarily self-care. And it wasn't necessarily like finding time to be mindful. And it wasn't necessarily like things they were doing in their classroom. It was other things. And what I found is that when you develop a relationship with a school leader who also understands how to go through this framework, it becomes so much deeper and richer, and the conversations we can have. It's not just like the teachers need to do this work. It's like all of us are doing this work, and it will benefit student learning and student success and student outcomes. And that's the point of school. You know, we can all define what the priority is, like what are the things we want to be teaching the kids, and like that can all be a debate. But if we can't even support kids learning anything, they can't learn anything. So that's why it's up to the adults in the school to come together and figure out collectively how to support this. So the acronym WELL, because I'm a teacher, I love acronyms. Acronym stands for waking up is the W, engaging in the journey is the E, leaning into strengths is the L, and living with compassion is the other L. So these are the big ideas. And then what I want you to look at is, this is a Venn diagram. And the number one is waking up. That's where we start. That's what I asked you a question about at the very beginning. What makes us different is this framework and this cycle that we keep cycling through these big ideas. The first thing we do is we wake up. We get with the picture of what's actually happening and get honest. And we do that through mindfulness practice. We do a lot of mindfulness work, bringing awareness to what's happening, what's working, what's not, bringing the curiosity and awe and wonder. So really, like, mindfulness is the key component of the practices that we practice. Then we move on to engaging in the journey. So actually, after we have an honest appraisal done, and we will do surveys and check in with people, an true honest appraisal. And sometimes that takes a while because we need to get fully honest about, you know, the healing that didn't happen, the hurt feelings. Like, we need to bring that all up to the table. It needs to be there. And we help you do that. Then we do the engaging in the journey, which is when we actually start to dive deeply into our beliefs and our reactions and our responses and boundaries and you know, all of those things that are biases. Like, all of these things come together because they need to be discussed. So we do self-inquiry. So that engaging in the journey, we do inquiry and self-inquiry. We ask a lot of questions of ourselves and of others. And we get all that onto the table. And then we say, you know what? We're going to lean into our strengths. We are a collective. I am an individual, but as a community, how can we come together? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? And how can we get support as a faculty, as a school, and as teachers? And then we will pass that strength building practice onto our students. So that's the practice that we do, is strength building. And then finally, we work to live with compassion, and that's both self-compassion, so seeing ourselves as flawed human beings, and then also bringing a culture of compassion to the way that we run our schools. And that doesn't mean that kids just do whatever they want. No, in fact, compassion means that we hold them lovingly accountable and have absolute expectations for them. But we do it in a way that is caring and kind and compassionate. So it's not that it's just a willy-nilly, everything feels good here. No, compassion is tough. Compassion is a type of tough love. We will definitely work on, holding kids accountable, but also having, when you hold kids accountable, you also have supports put in place to then be able to support them with where they're at. So again, this is an entire framework that will work on a teacher level, a student level, and administrator level. So why we do this? Why not just say, mindfulness for teachers, that's a great thing. Why don't you just teach that teaching well? Like, why are you changing and going deeper with this? Because true wellness is an active process of moving toward health in all areas of life. And today's teachers need wellness built into the school system they are working within. The system is really, I will honestly say, in many cases, the traditional school system has found or has proven to be broken right now. So we need to have wellness built into the system if we actually want our teachers to teach and our kids to learn. So having clear avenues for problem solving, chances for autonomy, feeling fully supported, and being given appropriate tools and training to meet the needs of their students in their classrooms are all ways to decrease teacher burnout, which will impact student learning. It's all connected. And that's what I want you to understand about what we want to bring to the table to your school districts. So again, this another way to look at this. The school and the students are reacting at the bottom. Then we take them through the process of waking up, engaging in the journey, leaning into the strengths, living with compassion, and we are at ease with the stress. We are able to respond to the stress appropriately, because stress isn't bad. It's that there's toxic stress and that there's no solution. And if we're just doing the same thing, expecting different results, well, that's not stress we want to live with. As schools move up the ladder, student achievement increases incrementally. So what others are saying about this program, these are just 3 different teachers who have commented recently about the changes that this has made. One high school music teacher said, "My life has changed as a result of this education. The scaffolding of personal care continues to keep me afloat and doing what I love to do, which is teaching." And then another teacher stated, "I saw a definite improvement in my overall state of mind through the duration of the program. This has been the most difficult year of my life, and I needed this program to keep things in perspective." And finally, "This program definitely helped to improve my overall mental and physical well-being this year, which was a blessing under the especially difficult circumstances we faced as teachers. This not only benefited me directly, but my students indirectly." So I just want to share, 3 snippets of what I have found to be true is that when we help ourselves, we help our students, but we need to move beyond and further than that, because in isolation, these things can be wonderful, but we need to do better for our teachers, for our kids, and for our future, and for our world, honestly. And that this teaching well framework can help be part of that transformation. Any questions? If you have questions, I would love to support you in finding the answers of the questions you have. So you can email me at danielle@teachingwell.life, or there also is a QR code at the end of this presentation where you can schedule a direct call, because I think sometimes, or I know that a direct call will definitely get you the answers that you need, and it will also be able to help us better figure out how to serve you. So to check out, I asked you at the beginning where you are now with something that is really challenging. And then you put where you want to get to by the end of the school year. And what I want to ask you right now underneath that arrow is, what is a first step? What is a step you can take tomorrow to move the needle ever so slightly from where you are to where you need to be? And I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but you have to start somewhere. And if you can start incrementally small, you will be amazed at the changes that will come as a result of just that little change over time. So I'd love for you to put in the chat or email me your first step, or on our call, tell me what your first step is, and we'll go from there. So please check out the QR code that I have here down at the bottom of this slide. It will be a direct link to sign up for a call with me so that we can talk more about the Teaching Well coaching framework, and we can best learn how to best serve you and your school district, one teacher, one school at a time. Thank you so much. It's Danielle from Teaching Well, and I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. Bye-bye.